Hello there, Azer here. I'm going to talk about a topic that is somewhat related to NGS, or it actually has very important precedent on going forward on why it's going to affect NGS in some ways or not. And it's kind of a controversial topic. So if your guys are actually sensitive towards topic about sexuality or why it actually cause issues for you or stuff like that, you maybe want to click away from the video. Now, coming from a game like New Genesis, which is also called Fantasy Star Online 2, which is the predecessor of this sequel that they somehow managed to get version 2 today and still alive, I guess. Hey, the reason why this game has been alive for the longest time is because of fashion. Yep, the freedom of choice on how you want to dress up your character is probably the main motivation of most characters, on most players' reason of actually sticking with this free-to-play live service game. Well, since we are in 2024 anyways, and we are literally in the age of era of custodies having females nowadays, and Stellar Blade being censored on launch with a day one patch, despite saying it's going to release with uncensored. Previously, I don't understand why they did it, and also with other minor censorship issues that has already been existing since like the early days of base PSO2 when it was released onto the West and the global server. So since there was censorship, I really wanted to reiterate why censorship is kind of bad and why am I supporting Grum's movement on hashtags free Stellar Blade, because it's very, very important for us all to just take a stance against censorship. Now, I wanted to argue against why people actually want censorship. Firstly, if you think censorship is good for maybe making a game or force a certain game that has very, very obscene material to somehow become family friendly content, I would say, why don't we just censor things according to the rating system that we already have currently? Okay, for example, New Genesis. This is not a game that is for kids to play. Yeah, they tried to go for the teen rating previously, but I think they failed because they realized how obscene it is with a lot of those legacy emotes and costumes from base PSO2 that I doubt they can actually change at any time to much more family friendly content anytime soon. So they just, make it an M for mature game, and it still plays pretty good till today. And why is it rated N for mature is because, well, I mean, you can dress in skimpy outfits all the time in the game, on the lobbies and gameplay. And you can also make some very suggestive emotes as well when you're playing with other players. Okay, this does not include modding, by the way, because modding is kind of technically out of the against the POS, so I'm not gonna talk about like modding stuff here, of course. But I wanted to show you guys that this game actually allows you to literally wear extremely skimpy clothing, as well clothing that is pretty normal or just covered your whole body and is family friendly to everybody. The reason why New Genesis doesn't present the game's players in like all of the trailers is pretty simple, because they know their players is going to dress outrageously when they are, you know, in the official trailers and stuff like that. So, how do you make those trailers kind of family friendly? Well, is to just use the default character models, of course. That's just how they wanted to, present the game from day one. That's the reason why you're still seeing Ash using a Prim Sword till today. Because, I mean, technically, it's actually the basic character that you can just stick with. You don't really need to actually buy any fashion stuff. It's all optional in the end. But yeah, if you look at the whole player base in Ship 2 and 1 and 3 and 4, I don't think you're gonna find extremely savory ships anytime soon. All of them are going to have some form of in betweens or even to the extremes. And yeah, the reason why these players always like to dress up in such extremes is not because they are creeps, it's not because they are like crazy in real life, it's not because they are psychopaths or anything. It's just because this game allows us to dress up how we wanted our OCs to be. And that's just how it is. We human beings have a very, very good, great desire on being very creative, especially for our own characters. And we always love to roleplay in our personal characters that we always think of in our own minds. Hence why the weird costumes here and there and the weird accessories, fashion items, and so on. This is all part of the experience on playing the dress-up game that is called New Genesis. That's the reason why I wanted to start off with saying no to censorship, because if most of this stuff are being censored, I'll bet 100% of the player would actually try to retaliate against Sega if they actually decided to censor all of these things when they try to compare it to the Japanese version, of course. But so far, after New Genesis releases, every single costume that is available on Japan is also have the same quality in terms of like the coverage of the bodies and how skimpy it is in terms of everything. It's all the same. There's no differences at all between the two versions after New Genesis releases, which is actually a good thing because that means there is no more censorship going forward for this game. And unfortunately, I think New Genesis is probably the only game that has this, you know, uh, no censorship movement out of most live service games. Because if you look at most of the MMOs or just any online games out of that is being localized for the global audiences, you're always going to see censorship here and there, and I don't understand why. Firstly, I think the worst offender is Blue Protocol. Okay, yeah, sure, the game is not out on Amazon yet for the global side of things, but it's already pretty obvious that Amazon has purposely censored a lot of very, very minor things somehow on a very, very tame game that is Blue Protocol. Blue Protocol does not have anything remotely obscene at all in comparison to PSO2. So it's very, very funny when you see the developers purposely just censor children NPCs to wear pants instead of wearing skirts. And that is such a minuscule change. That's such a pointless censorship, in my opinion, because why are you scared of people doing something bad towards the children when they are just NPC characters that people are going to ignore in the game anyways? Why are you so mindful on wanting to censor them instead of like the more obscene stuff that is in the game, like swimsuits or whatnot? Apparently those are fine. And then they have the balls to even censor like the chest slider and also the body type censorship that is actually the same thing as well with like the PSO2 as well, which they don't allow the global version to actually have like a character that is under the height of 151 centimeters. And I don't understand why. There are human beings who are shorter than that height who are adults anyways, but oh well, I guess I can just give it to them to, prevent people from creating lolly characters or shoulder characters, but that is like a very, very different topic altogether. But at the same time, I don't want people to actually like correlate real life proportions into video games or any fiction at all. And I want people to understand that fiction things are not real. Okay, wait, VTubers, anime, or any movies that you watch on Netflix are not real unless they are documentaries, okay? Or unless they are non-fiction works. Because for the most part, if it's actually a fiction, if it's a role play, if it's a actor acting as a certain character, it's not really a real thing. So you don't have to correlate real life laws to be set for those things because they are just fictional things. They are supposed to tell a story that is completely different from real life circumstances. I mean, they could be borrowing things from the real life for the most part, but then that would usually make the story kind of boring if it's actually real life. That's the reason why we have different genres in fiction, such as sci-fi for New Genesis and fantasy for Blue Protocol. That's the reason why that we all love games, because it is a medium that allows us to express whatever we wanted without hurting anything in real life, without causing chaos in real life, because it's just a virtual entertainment. But these people, I don't understand why these people who wanted to ruin this all by forcing family-friendly values and censorship on M for mature games is just ridiculous. Why would you do it? Why would you want to censor something like this into this when it's just the difference of the clothing that is covering the cleavage part, or the back parts, or whatever parts that you think is a little bit too much? It's just pointless, to be honest. If a character is literally wearing a skin tight suit, how can you censor them? I mean, people are still going to lust over them, no matter how much you want to make them as family friendly per se, right? Because I don't really think there's a way for you to stop horniness in any human being. The reason why we love these things in games is because it's all fictional, it's not real. That's the reason why mobile game gacha works and is one of the most successful gaming genres, is because, well, they love the character designs and they don't want them to be censored. That's the reason why a lot of those gacha players were gonna go riot and just boycott the game when they actually do some censorship and they had to backtrack on it. You don't want your fan base to backtrack on your product, don't you? That's the reason why we had to fight back against this injustice of censoring. Oh yeah, by the way, there is also this very weird biases that I'm seeing from censorship from the Western side of things as well. Whenever a Japanese, a South Korean, or China-based game suddenly being localized for the English or global audiences, somehow and somewhere there will be some censorship being done. And it's very, very subtle, but sometimes it's just very, very pointless as well. So I don't understand why they have to do censorship, especially like for the games that are released by Amazon, or for things, games that are being released from different localizations of JRPGs and light novels that are a little bit too weird. I don't understand why they actually have to censor those when those are only existing for mature audiences. By the way, they are not meant for kids to watch anyways. Why are you censoring mature content? Mature content is meant to be adult content. It's not meant to be, oh, I am still a teenager and I still am a very, very innocent child. I shouldn't be exposed to all these horrors of adult life yet. No. M for mature means you are above 17, you are consenting on watching this kind of stuff. That's why you are being called an adult. You are able to consent. That's the difference between a minor and an adult, alright? That's the reason why we have laws on determining how a person is actually a minor or an adult or not, right? Just looking by their age. Like literally, okay? Like that's the reason why the ESRB system is in place anyways, but I still don't understand why they still censoring M for mature games when they actually just allow stuff that are like completely, that games that have like complete nudity, like Baldur's Gate 3 suddenly just get a free pass of uncensored version no matter the region suddenly, and then they can allow Cyberpunk 2077 to have full nudity, which is even crazier than any anime games that is only showing a little bit of cleavage. By the way, it's weird that they have to censor the one that actually have the anime characters instead of the one that looks like the realistic Western person, or the cartoon ones from the Western side, or the one that is more realistic. I don't understand. First point is, you can see most women dressing up as these anime characters in real life anyways. So there's no point for you to censor them because I mean people who touch grass can see the same thing anyways. Why would you want to censor this thing? Secondly, these are not real characters. They are not going to hurt any women or anything going on in like real life, even if they are were to sexualize in any at most extreme way. So I don't really see there's an issue going forward with just censoring all these things for no reason. Thirdly, it's going to sell. It's going to literally help the game to get more sales because the male gaze is literally like the best marketing material apparently in the 21st century, and unfortunately, because it's part of our body's instinct that we like this kind of stuff, even the women who liked it as well, and the guys like it as well. So everybody wins, and everybody will pay up the money to get that kind of game or get that kind of entertainment because they like those characters being as like that. I cannot see in a world where everything is being censored to be a kind of a precedent in the future. So I really, really wish that we should stop having these biases against Asian culture, Asian media, or Asian animation or Asian games. I don't understand why Western games are allowed having a free pass of going through the screening process while anime games are getting censored. It's just beyond me. But for now, if you actually see a lot of like censorship that's going on in any game at all, just shout it out and just point it out, and hopefully the developers would understand how ridiculous it is and just make sure the games would have like a separate patch to like to remove the censorship, or just literally wait until like the mod to be censored happen, I guess, in the future when there's a PC port. But if it's like a game like Stellar Blade, the only way to do it is to just follow the hashtag Free Stellar Blade movement, because if it's an exclusive on the console, we cannot really do anything about it. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about this video. And I'm really glad that New Genesis is literally just having this no gender rule, and you only have like a type 1 or type 2 version, although it's pretty obvious what they are, obviously, but you can at least mix and match now as any parts at all now, so you don't have any restrictions on becoming a hybrid of a robot or a hybrid of an animal or so on. So it's a good thing, but at the same time, I do wish there are more equality as well for the type 1 fashions, because so far there's a lot of type 2 fashions being just literally copy pasted into type 1, and they literally trying to encourage more type 1 femboys fashion or something. I don't understand why, but it's pretty funny, but okay. Priests also provide a lot of masculine type 1 fashion for type 2 as well to even it out, okay? That's literally what I want for Sega to do moving forward. And I wanted to also say like congratulations to New Genesis to actually having its creator program upgraded. So now I'm probably gonna post more stuff on my YouTube channel, because since they allow YouTube Shorts now, that's actually going to make everything even easier, especially if you are just only staying on a single platform like X or Instagram even. Yeah, hopefully you are able to become a content creator, and I'm hoping to see more new content creators coming out soon. Well, for now, I'll just have to wait for the new upcoming content coming in the June or July. Other than that, happy third anniversary to NGS, and I just wish everybody to fight against the censorship of our times. Sayonara.